Hello everyone, welcome to the Comic Gamer Movie Show. My name's Deshaun, and today I am here to give you my full speculation on Avengers Infinity War. Now, spoiler alert, I'm going to get nitty gritty into the spoilers here. It's going to get spoilerific, it's going to get deep. So if you haven't seen the movie, please go out and see the movie. The movie is doing gangbusters at the box office right now. Biggest opening weekend of all time, biggest worldwide opening of all time. It's going to cross $1 billion by the end of by the end of today or either Saturday morning. It's the fastest to cross $1 billion. It topped The Force Awakens. It's probably people pretty much got it close to making $2 billion. So it's gonna be probably the third or fourth highest grossing movie of all time. The movie is doing fantastic. I've seen it 3 times. Seen it once on Thursday night before when it opened up. Again with Seth on Friday night. And again just today with my friend Willie and a couple of his friends. And his uncle and his brother, because they wanted to see it. So I have seen this movie a couple times. Now, the last time I just saw it, I didn't pay. But the other 2 times, I legitimately saw it. I've seen it 3 times. I've analyzed it. I've looked it up and down. I had to watch this movie multiple times because there's so much in it. You know what I mean? There's so much in it that needs to be broken down. So, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. I'm going to be quiet right here. You guys can cut away from it. It's going to be, I'll give you about a moment of a little silence. And if you don't want to hear the rest, if you don't want to get into the spoilers with me, then don't look at the video. But if you do, keep with me. Here's your opportunity. Alright. In the very end of Avengers, Thanos wins. Thanos wins, he snaps his fingers, everyone dies. Well, half of everyone dies. The entire Guardians besides Rocket are gone. Black Panther's gone. Spider-Man's gone. Doctor Strange is gone. Doctor Strange is gone. Everyone's gone. All that remains is Rocket, the original the original Avengers. We don't know what happened to Hawkeye. He never shows up. We don't know what happened to Ant-Man or Wasp. They don't show up either, though I have theories about that. I'll get into it later. All we know is that the original Avengers are all that's left. The original Avengers are all that's left. We don't know we don't know why. We don't know if it's just coincidence because Thanos said he'd kill off half the universe randomly. So we don't know. So let's get right into that. What happened to them? Now there's a lot of theories going on right now. What happened to the people who disintegrated, to the people who disappeared and turned to ash? Or whatever the hell that was. I think it was ash? Dust? I don't know. It was like these weird looking things. But whatever happened to them, the movie doesn't clearly give you an indication. Now, there's a couple theories. And I don't know which one I lean on, honestly. Like, if you're looking for my opinion, which one I lean on, I can't quite tell you. Look, there's theories that perhaps they're stuck in the Soul Stone. Perhaps they're inside of the Soul Stone. They're legit inside of the Soul Stone. They're stuck in there, and you're going to have to figure out a way to get them out. Then there's another theory that perhaps they're all gone. The Soul Stone killed them all, and they're actually dead. They're actually dead and gone. Like, they're dead, and the Avengers are gonna have to figure out a way to reverse it. But then there's a theory that, like in the comic books, the Soul Stone can trap people's souls in an ideal paradise world, and the wielder of the Soul Stone can literally tap into all the people inside of its abilities and knowledge and use them himself. Which is why in the comics, the Soul Stone is sort of kind of thought of to be the most dangerous, because not only can you trap people's souls within it, but you can use their abilities and whatnot as well. It's like having it's like Shang Tsung kind of level of stuff. But inside of it's a pocket dimension, this whole other world all unto itself, which that could be interesting to play with. Though I'm not sure if they're going to go with that. What I think they're going to do is, I think everyone's going to be dead. I don't really know, man. I don't know. Now I'm having second thoughts now that I think about it. I don't know if they want to go with that pocket dimension thing. The pocket dimension thing would be cool, but set photos and leak photos have come out that kind of show you that that they go back into the past, and for some weird unknown reason, Tony Stark, they go to an alternate dimension, which makes me think that this is what's going to happen. just off the set photos, and they're all wearing these devices on their hands. It's like they're keeping them in the set reality, and Ant-Man's there, which leads me to believe that Ant-Man and the Wasp is going to be a much more important movie than you think. It's going to be a much more important movie than you think. It's going to have some huge ramifications. Now, this is what I think. I think Hank Pym / Ant-Man and Scott and all them discover a way to use the Pym particles to where they can basically teleport to different realities. I think they discovered a way to do that. I think that everyone's dead. I think everyone's just dead. They're not trapped in the Soul Stone or nothing. Everyone's dead. And I think they're going to, through Ant-Man's help, they're going to find a way to go to another dimension where events turned out differently. And they're going to figure a way to reverse the effects of what happened. But in the process, they're going to go to another dimension where you see Elseworld versions of all the characters. You're going to see Elseworld versions. You're going to see a Tony Stark who's the leader of S.H.I.E.L.D. or a Captain America who, you're going to see these Elseworld versions of these characters. But I think they're going to piece together House of M. And if you wonder what House of M is a X-Men story where Scarlet Witch snaps, and like, long story short, Scarlet Witch and Vision, they have children. I know what you're thinking. How can an android and a woman have children? They don't. She's so powerful that she conjures up these children, and once someone really much tells her, yeah, they're not real, she snaps. She says, no more mutants, and she snaps, and she completely changes reality itself and put everyone in their idealistic world and idealistic universe, and it's pretty nuts because like everyone has to wake up and realize, oh, this isn't our world. I think they're gonna do that, except instead of everyone waking up, it's gonna be Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America and Ant-Man are gonna literally be on this other dimension, and I think Cap, Iron Man, and Thor are gonna wake up in their other bodies, their younger bodies, and they're gonna be like, whoa, oh shit, okay, what are we doing? And they're gonna be like, oh, I think Ant-Man's gonna help them go to another reality, and they're gonna pop up in their other realities, in their other bodies, and that's gonna be the basic of the movie, is them dealing with this other reality, trying to figure out a way to fix theirs. So that's my prediction of what happened in the end. That's just one speculation. That's just one thing that could have happened. Another thing is, let's get into some of the other things. Which is Doctor Strange's long game. Now, throughout the course of the movie, Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange and Iron Man are butting heads. As you could imagine, these two arrogant, narcissistic, to a degree, genius figures coming into a room. I told Seth this. I was like, when you put two geniuses in a room, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's fucking cooking. I don't care if it's fucking, knitting. I don't care if it's anything. You put two geniuses in a room, either two things are going to happen. Just two, in my opinion. Either A, they're going to fucking get along like white on rice, and they're going to become besties like Iron Man and Bruce Banner. Or B, they're going to hate each other's fucking guts. They're going to hate each other's guts. They're not going to like each other at all because to a certain degree they see certain parts of themselves in the other person and they don't want to admit they see that, so they hate them even more. So, and go figure, Tony and Doctor Strange were B. And they hated each other and they kept going at each other, trying to show up each other and just talking non-stop shit to each other. And near the, once they get on the Q ship, that's what they call it, a Q ship. Because it looks like a Q. If you look at it from a certain angle, it kind of looks like a Q, but it kind of looks like it's just a circle, but whatever. They get on the Q ship, and Doctor Strange basically tells Tony to his face that if it comes to protecting the stone, or it comes to protecting you or the boy, aka Spider-Man, I'm going to pick the stone every time. Now, at the time he said that, there's two things that goes through your mind. There's two things that went through my mind for sure. Is either A, he's bullshitting, and he's just saying that to be tough, and he's going to end up screwing the pooch anyways. Or B, he really means that, and this is comic book Doctor Strange. Make no mistake, comic book Doctor Strange is one of the most hardcore characters in Marvel. He does not give a fuck. He has way too much on the line. The stuff that the Avengers deal with to comic book Doctor Strange is nothing. This man fights reality warping demons on a regular basis. He one time, taking a little tangent here, comic book Doctor Strange one time went to another dimension, fought there for decades, But time here only passed, but on Earth it only passed 2 years, so he only technically aged 2 years. But he fought there decades, won the war, came back here. That's a weekend for Doctor Strange. That is comic book Doctor Strange, and I love that they make him more comic book Doctor Strange. I love this interpretation of Doctor Strange. I really enjoyed the Doctor Strange movie, but this version of him is more comic booky. It's more magical, if you say. And his thought frame is more Doctor Strange. You can slowly seeing him become that guy. Become that, kind of stuck up, kind of, not tighten up, but kind of just like, he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders guy. Because Doctor Strange does have the weight of the world on his shoulders. Honestly, he's a very sad character because he's always alone. Like, he's going to always be alone because he's the only one who can bear that kind of a burden. And they got it here because later on, near the end, when the final battle on Titan takes place, Doctor Strange is faced with that moment of letting Tony Stark die or giving up the soul or giving up the Time Stone. When I'm seeing it a third time, I believe he hit it in plain sight. Because if you saw, there's a star in the background, and when he gets the Infinity Stone, he just kind of reaches his hand around this star that's in the background and just takes it, and it just turns to the Infinity Stone and he takes it. Which makes me think that Doctor Strange was hiding it in plain sight the entire time, and one way or another, Thanos was going to eventually get it. But getting to Doctor Strange, a little bit before that, when they first arrived on Titan, he used the Time Stone to look into the future, and he saw 14,275,000. I believe that's the number, but I know it was 14 million scenarios in which this situation played out. He saw them all, and he said, we only win one. We only win one. There's only one we win. And I agree with somebody else on YouTube. I can't remember the names. I've seen so many YouTube videos on this. Everything that happens after Doctor Strange says, I've seen it, he's playing it his way. Because he knows how it goes. He knows Star-Lord snaps and tries to beat the shit out of Thanos. He knows that that they can't win here. He knows that no matter what happens, that Thanos is going to get his hands on this stone. So what is the way that they win? And I suggest to you, with the movie already suggested, and just in case you haven't figured it out, they had to lose to win. How they win, why they win, what they do to win, I'm not 100% sure on, but I'm 90% sure. The Doctor Strange, a lot like his comic counterpart, seeing the future, he knows what's to come. He knows he's going to die. He knows who's going to die. He knows that a lot of people are going to die. And he says, you know what? This is the cost to victory. In the end, it'll work out. But at the moment, this is going to look dire. I can't tell you what I know because it'll make you do something different than what you're already going to do. And the idea that Doctor Strange is basically kind of godlike, that he sees what's happening. He knows things that no one else in the entire Marvel universe knows, is totally Doctor Strange. That is totally Doctor Strange. That is totally something that I could see in the comics, that he knows something that nobody else in the universe knows because he's Doctor Strange and he has the burden of knowing that. Can you imagine that burden of knowing, not only am I going to die, but a whole bunch of other people are going to die, but if I don't do it, they're going to die anyways? It's like, dude, that's got to be a lot. But I know this is a speculation video, but I'm going to throw out a little bit tangents there too, that just in case you know, he did a bunch of spells from the comic books. He did this one spell where he multiplied himself a bunch of times. They're technically an illusion, but it's such a good illusion that you can't really tell it's fake. He did the bands of Sidorak, which are badass. The Crimson Bands of Sidorak, which are badass. There were those, if you wonder what those red little bands he threw out at Thanos, and they're like wrapped around his hand, and like it kind of sounded like it was crackling. It was like really red. Those are the Crimson Bands of Sidorak. Nerdy shit, I know. Crimson Bands of Sidorak. They are pretty, like, he used them all the time in the comics. A lot of people thought that those little spark whips were the Crimson Bands. No, the Crimson Bands of Sidorak are those red ones, and they harness the power of Sidorak. Now in the movies, it's not that. In the movies, it seems like magic is more of a science, and you just kind of do different things to make it look like magic. But in the comics, magic is magic, and like whenever he summons a magic spell or something, he's harnessing the energy from a deity, from a god-like deity from another dimension. Whenever he says anything with Agamotto, he's summoning power from Agamotto. He says something powers from someone else. He's the wand of Watum is power from Watum, and this is Crimson Bands of Sidorak. In the comics, he's harnessing powers from a demon, this god, this red ass angry guy named Sidorak, who, funny enough, is the person who gave Juggernaut his abilities. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Juggernaut is not a mutant. Juggernaut is a dude who found a space rock that happened to be the heart of Sidorak, which is a direct connection to a deity, which is why he's so powerful, because he has direct connection to a god. And Doctor Strange summons a portion of his power to use those bands, but Juggernaut has direct contact to Sidorak. And like, trick is, you can only use it when you're angry. Juggernaut has to be angry to connect to Sidorak because he's like this anger god, basically. He's basically like Atrocitus on steroids. He really is. Sidorak is Atrocitus on steroids because he's an actual god living in his own dimension of anger and hate. But that's a little nerd tangent to get you, a little nerd nugget there. But yeah, you see him do those things, and at one point Thanos shoots a beam of freaking energy at him from the Power Stone, and he opens up the mirror dimension and like absorbs the time stone and like absorbs the blast at the mirror dimension and then throws it at him, and he turns that into a black hole and throws it at him, and he turns that into butterflies. The shit gets nuts. I was like, this is fucking awesome. Oh man, seeing it third time doesn't get old. I think I'm gonna have to buy this goddamn movie, man. It doesn't get old. But anyways, moving on. Now that I broke down Doctor Strange's plan and how he was thinking about it and probably the process, and that he has a long game, because near the end he says, we're in the long game now. We're in the end game now. Doctor Strange is playing chess. Everyone else is just living in the moment. Doctor Strange is playing chess. And in the end, when 4 comes out, you'll finally get it revealed to you. Moving on, Thor and his axe. Stormbreaker. And if you wonder, in the comics, Stormbreaker is Beta Ray Bill's axe. Beta Ray Bill is one of Thor's allies along the way. He's this horse face looking dude who's a bad motherfucker, who's like the guardian of his race, because his race got destroyed by some asshole. By some asshole. And not destroyed, his planet got blown up. So like he's like supposed to just watch over them. Long story short, Beta Ray Bill was a Thor ally. He was the first person to ever pick up Mjolnir, Beta Ray Bill. He's the first guy to ever do that. Like, no one had ever done that until Beta Ray, which is why he's like this fan favorite. Yeah, I actually got a glimpse of him in Thor Ragnarok. You know when you're in Thor Ragnarok, when they're going to the whole the Colosseum, and you see those faces of these champions up there? Well, there's a horse face looking one, and that's Beta Ray Bill. Don't know if he was there or not, but it's kind of sad if he was. Who knows? But yeah, Beta Ray Bill, that's Beta Ray Bill's original axe. And throughout the story, Thor's story starts pretty sad with the death of Loki and Heimdall. And it's proven right then and there that not only, Loki's arc comes full circle. He attempts to betray Thanos, though I personally, you know what? I like Loki's death. It came full circle. But I did have a gripe with that. I think Loki is smart enough to try to weasel his way on the Thanos crew. I don't think Thanos would have went for it, but I thought they should have really put effort into letting him weasel his way in, and then him dying. I don't think he had to die in the top. You know what I'm saying? Him dying, great. I thought he should have died. It was impactful. It really hit me. But I thought it would have been a little bit more interesting if he had weaseled his way on to Thanos' group, and Thanos the entire time knew Loki was going to betray him. But he just knew he could kill him whenever he wanted to, and he's waiting for the perfect moment to kill him, and then he kills him at a certain moment in the movie, and it's like, yeah, I knew what you're doing, bitch. But instead, I like the way he did it still, but instead, Loki just tried to stab him right then and there, which he got close to doing. He did get close, so which is why I don't hate it too much. He did get close, but it was not enough. Loki gets choked out in this horrific way. You see blood rushing to his head. You see him struggling. It really is eerie. And but anyways, Thor watches that. So and there's this scene with Thor when he's with the Guardians, and he's sitting there and he's like, not with the Guardians, when he's with Rocket and Groot, when Rocket's like talking to him, because this movie just has so many great character arcs that are coming back, like Rocket pretty much learning everything, how to be a captain, by Peter doing the same thing, which is why when he says time to be the captain now, it's kind of a callback to all the Guardians movies of Peter doing the same thing to them. So it's a great callback there. And him talking to Thor, and you're realizing Thor, you know what? He's a god. He's a warrior, but he has feelings. He has feelings. He's lost so much, and he's still here. And you know what? I love it because Thor's like, look, I've lost everything, man. I've lost so much. I am 15,000 years old. I've lived a long time. I've killed a lot of people. And basically, he came to the conclusion, I will be damned if I let Thanos be the thing that puts me down. I'm going to get this axe. I'm going to come back. I'm going to kill that fucker. Basically, in a nutshell, what Thor said. In a little more funnier way. But, yeah, and then they kind of get to the dwarving kingdom. I can't remember what it's called. It's like Niflheim or something like that. Something like that. I can't say it right. It's probably in Norse mythology, too, where the land where the dwarves roam. And they get there, and it's like this space station. I love how Marvel's doing the Norse gods. It's like they're gods. No, because Thor's still a god. He can survive the vacuum of space without any problem. He can just breathe in space. No problem. He can move in the vacuum of space. No problem. He can fly in the vacuum of space. Thor's a god. He's a god in every sense. But he's not a god. He's just a powerful being. I love the way they deal with that, man. I love it. And I love the fact that the dwarves in the comics, they're just, Lord of the Ring like dwarves. They're working this, they're working a, kind of typical thing you would think you'd see from dwarves building weapons. Like, it's just Lord of the Ring like dwarves who build weapons. But in the cinematic universe, they work on this huge ass space station with this ball in the middle made of metal, but it's apparently a dying star that they built a station around it and started I like how they put a twist on that heart of a dying star thing with Thor's axe, hammer, because in the comics and whatnot, it was like, oh no, they crafted it from the heart of a dying star, but in this no, the metal is Uru. Uru is a powerful enchanted metal. Uru's in a whole bunch of different comics and fantasy stuff. Uru's in a whole bunch of stuff. And no, they need the heat of a dying star to melt the metal to make the axe / hammer. Or AKA Ultimate Thor's hammer. Ultimate Thor, if you wonder what I mean, has an axe and a hammer on both sides. And it's badass looking. In fact, this version of Thor, minus the long hair, looks like Ultimate Thor. Because Ultimate Thor has a black armor with the silver plates. And that's exactly what this version of Thor has. Black armor with the silver plates. Only difference is he doesn't have long hair. But he has the exact same axe, hammer. He got the exact same plates. It looks badass. But getting back to the hammer making of the hammer, Peter Dinklage playing Eitri, the king of the dwarves. Now, I hope not all the dwarves are dead because I would love to see Peter Dinklage / Eitri show back up again in something and build something. I'm willing to bet money right here now. I will bet you hardcore cash, like whatever cash you want, that Peter Dinklage, Eitri, built Iron Man a suit out of Uru metal. I will bet you, because that's such a cool thing in the comics when Iron Man gets this enchanted suit, this enchanted awesome suit. It's not the God Killer's suit. The God Killer suit's something different. I thought it was, but it's not. It's something different. But he gets this awesome ass armor made of Uru metal, and it's damn near indestructible. Damn near indestructible. Obviously, you saw Thor's hammer gets broken in half, so obviously people can break it. But it's so much more tougher than anything on Earth. It's tougher than vibranium. It's tough. Uru metal is ironically, because there's metals in the Marvel universe. Don't got adamantium here. The top 3 metals you want are Uru, vibranium, and adamantium. Vibranium is the most useful because it can be used in so many different ways. Uru is the most powerful because it's magical. It's powerful too, but it's magical. And adamantium is probably the most durable one. Because even Thanos couldn't really break it. He had to melt it. He had to turn it into rubber or something. Yeah, so those are the metals. And Uru is badass. It's got those magical properties and whatnot. So, it's pretty cool to see him do that. But and then Peter Dinklage is this giant dwarf. I love that play on it. And he built the Infinity Gauntlet just like in the comics. The dwarves built the Infinity Gauntlet in comics too. Well, I think in the original comics, Thanos built it, but then it's kind of been changed up to where the dwarves build it. They built everything in the Marvel Universe, really. They built Thor's hammer and his axe. They built everything. If there's something powerful, if there's a powerful weapon, chances are 9 times out of 10 they built it. 9 times out of 10 they built it. If it's oh my god, this weapon's going to destroy half the universe. Dwarves, Eitri, what? That's literally how it is with those guys. But yeah, and then Thor. But this is the moment where I realized Thor's a god. He took a direct shot from a sun. Imagine that someone pushed all the energy out of a sun and shot it. And he took that. So in the MCU canon, anything short of a direct shot from the sun, from the core of the sun, can't kill Thor. Anything short of that. It's nuts. I'm like, dude, he is a god. They finally made him a god. Because at first it was like, he's a god. No, he's a god, dude. And man, he took that shot. He survived it. He was dying, by the way. Dying. He wasn't dead. He was dying from that. Then eventually gets the hammer back. And he has a badass moment where he... sorry, nerdgasm. Sorry. Back. I'm back. Anyways, Eitri... his hands are all messed up and whatnot, and he builds the axe for him. And Groot has a great freaking, kind of a small little arc where he grows up, where he sees Thor in need. And it's like this thing where throughout the course of the movie, Groot's just like, he's being this pompous teenage asshole. And right there, he was like, it's about more than me. And I love that, because he didn't have to say anything. You didn't have to understand what he was saying. You just saw on his Groot's face. This is about more than me, man. I gotta do something. He's gonna die. I'm not gonna let that happen. And he sacrificed his own arm for him to be alive. And it was amazing. Great moment. I think, I don't think that's all. There's a couple other theories I love to throw out there. How permanent, which, let's get into Thanos and his killing of Gamora. It was sad. It was extremely sad because it's pretty clear that he loved Gamora. It's pretty clear to me. Some people have said it's not that clear. I disagree. I think it was pretty clear that he loves Gamora. I think it was pretty clear that he did not want to kill her. Even when you look at the movie again, you realize he never lays a hand on her, no matter what she says to him. He tortures Nebula. He could have tortured her, but he tortures Nebula. He says it all the time that he wishes she would sit on this throne and that he saved her. And like, he really believes all these things coming out of his mouth. Whether it's true or false, it doesn't really matter. It's true to him. And I think that's the key part of Thanos and what makes him a phenomenal villain. Top 5 villain of all time, in my opinion, and tied with Heath Ledger's Joker as my favorite comic book villain, is that he believes everything he's saying. He really, truly believes he's going to save the world. And it's kind of right there where you realize that, his relationship with Gamora, it does not matter what you think of him. What he believes and what he makes and what he kind of tells the audience, this is what I believe, you got to just take him on his word for it. He loved his daughter. I don't know about how much he loved Nebula, because he kind of torturing her. And one time when she shows up near the end and she's like, you should have killed me. And he was like, oh, it stung deep. And he was like, would have been a waste of parts. I was like, damn, Thanos, you ain't got to be a dick, man. You ain't got to be a dick about it. It would have been a waste of parts. Woo, man, Thanos, man. Phenomenal villain. CGI on him was so fucking good that I watched it today, and on the close-up shot when Thor comes back and he hits him and they put that axe right in his chest, and I'm like, oh shit, Thor's here. And then but it was close up on him. I'm like, you could see the pores on his skin, you could see the wrinkles in his face, you could see what looks like those things guys get, I guess those are pores. When a guy shaves and like you could see his pores on his chin like really open, it looked like that. It looked like he just recently shaved. Like, it was crazy how realistic his skin looked. It really bothered me. It bothered me how realistic he looked. How like, this is an actual purple giant man on screen right now. Where'd they find that at? Like, really, dude, it looked really good. I'm like, damn, now that I know you guys can do that, there is no excuse for you guys not to nail a CGI villain ever again. Thanos is proof that CGI villain can work. Damn it, Justice League, learn. I hope Darkseid looks half as good as this, okay? I hope Darkseid better look as good as this, damn it. He deserves it. For right now, I feel bad for Darkseid because Thanos is going to be the talk of the town. Thanos is going to bury Darkseid. And in the beginning of 2008, that's not even a question. Thanos is just a ripoff of Darkseid. But Thanos is about to Deadpool Darkseid. Thanos is about to Deadpool Darkseid. You know how Deadpool is a ripoff of Deathstroke? If you didn't know that, Deadpool's a ripoff of Deathstroke. Well, guess what? Everyone loves Deadpool more than Deathstroke. Some people don't even know who the fuck Deathstroke is. And I can tell you this for a fact. Some people are not going to remember who Darkseid is. They're going to see this movie. They're going to think Thanos is such a good villain. The Marvel's going to market the hell out of him in comics and whatnot. So they're going to push his ass hard now. And people are going to forget who Darkseid is. Or they're not going to say he's not bad. Darkseid's still a fantastic villain. He's probably still one of the greatest villains of all time in comics. But people watch more movies than they do read comics. So by default, Thanos is going to be launched to the top of the totem pole of villains. Not maybe the tippy top, but he's going to be launched up there. And he's going to get right past Darkseid, because no one's going to remember who Darkseid is, because no one hasn't seen Darkseid on the big screen, and they got is comic books, and nobody really reads comic books except me and a couple other nerds. So Thanos is going to shoot past Darkseid and become the superior villain, and it's right or wrong is irrelevant. It's just what it is going to happen, because the Marvel Universe does a phenomenal job of turning these characters no one care about into A-listers, like launching them up. Like Jessica Jones, after Jessica Jones, the show, became big time. Like now people know Jessica Jones. They know her comics. Like if you say Jessica Jones, a lot of people know who you're talking about now. Same thing with Iron Man and Captain America and whatnot. So Thanos is going to become big time after this movie. I love what they did with this Black Order, especially Ebony Maw. Ebony Maw was always my favorite Black Order member, so it was great to see that he was the one serviced. You know, I finally realized why some people had a problem with the Black Order, though, because there are certain members of the Black Order they loved, and they didn't get served as well. They still were good to me. All the members were still good. They all had characteristics and things that they did. Like, you could tell Ebony Maw is this pompous worshiper of Thanos, the glorious one. You are all in the presence. Hear ye. You are all in the presence of Thanos. And Corvus Glaive was more practical, kind of just his henchman, like his right hand, just to go out. Proxima kind of seemed like he was not her favorite daughter, but his best trained daughter, who had some arrogance to her, who had some ego to her, who had some, like, conviction about her. Cole Obsidian, aka Black Dwarf, was a little bit more. He didn't talk much, but he kind of seemed like he was just about his business. You know what I mean? He just seemed like he's like, I'm about my business. I go kill who he wants me to kill, and I go about my business. I don't got to talk. So I didn't mind it. I didn't mind that they didn't all have as much characteristics as Ebony Maw, because they're not gonna all get that. I mean, some movies, a lot of people working on it. There's no way they could all get that much character in. But I will say, I did love Maw, and his powers changed, because in the comics he had the power of persuasion, which would be great to see, but I know that there's no time to really go into that. There's not a lot of time to really get into that in a 2-hour movie, in a damn near 3-hour movie that's got so many characters in it. If it was just if it was just another Avengers movie with like all just regular Avengers, maybe. Even if it was just a single character movie, of course it would have been able to get all that. But it was too many characters. There's too much going on for them to have his manipulate people powers. And I think people were kind of over heroes fighting heroes, so they didn't want to get into that. So they kind of made him a super powerful telepath, which I didn't mind, because he was so arrogant about it. And he's so just like, I love his facial expressions, his demeanor. It's so awesome. He's got this prick attitude, just floating, just like, bitch, I don't care, until he gets hit, and then he's all, ugh. Oh man, he's a great henchman, man. Honest to God, they could have got rid of the rest of the Black Order and just kept Ebony Maw as like the main source, because he is a great henchman. I wish he didn't die. But he died, and he died like an aliens, like Peter said, so that was pretty good. Okay, last thing we're gonna talk about in the speculation video is, why can't Hulk turn into Hulk anymore? And this one's going to be shorter than the other few. Cut it, make it short and sweet for you. It's because he got the shit kicked out of him. It hurt a lot. And he's scared to come out and deal with it. He never got his ass whooped like that. Even on any movie, even when he's down, he always has a fight. A lot of people brought up, oh, well, he was down in Thor Ragnarok when he was fighting Hulk. No, he wasn't. When he was fighting Thor, no, he wasn't. Thor bucked him up, but there was no guarantee Thor was about to win that fight. Well, at least in his own mind, he can rationalize it as there's no guarantee he was going to win that fight. But this one was definitive. There's no question. There's no tussle. Thanos just outright beat the shit out of him. That fight was amazing, because two CGI characters should look stupid, and it looked intense, and it looked scary, and it looked like Thanos knew what the fuck he was doing. He hit him right in the throat. I mean, dude, Thanos was a scary motherfucker right there, man, because you realize something. It's like watching some bodybuilder. It was like watching some big tough guy start a fight with somebody who knows somebody who's been trained Marine and like a bunch of somebody who's been in like the UFC. You're just like, whoa, like this dude's big as shit and he's strong, but damn, that UFC dude knows what he's doing. He just fucked him up, and that's what happened. It was just, and it ended so fast. Knee to the face. unconscious. He knocked him the fuck out, as someone else has said. As my boy Chris Tucker said in Friday, you just got knocked the fuck out. That's what happened. That's what happened to him. That's what happened to the Hulk. He got knocked the fuck out. It bothered him because you can even look into this is real life stuff right here though. You look at boxers and whatnot, and even UFC fighters. Once they're knocked unconscious, you're never truly the same after that. Once a man puts your lights out, that's nothing you can do. Talk like another man. You got in a fair fight with another man, and he knocked you out. There's nothing more demoralizing than that. Like getting knocked unconscious, it does different things to different people. And it affected the Hulk. It really did. But I love the fact that he wasn't there, honestly, because you got to see more of Bruce Banner. You got to see that Bruce is not just the Hulk. You know, he doesn't need the Hulk to be a hero. And I love that because you saw it. He didn't need the Hulk to be a hero. He just worked the Hulkbuster suit and he knew it inside and out. So when that thing tried to kill him, and he knew, oh yeah, there's this button on this thing on the outside where I can push it and it'll take him off. And it was great because he used his mind because Bruce doesn't need the Hulk to be a hero. And I love that. It's a great moment. But one last thing, and then it's going to be over. Why was Rocket the last Guardian standing? Because Rocket's greatest fear is to be alone. Watch all the Guardians, and you'll see that Rocket's greatest fear is being alone. And right now, he's technically alone. Now, he's not alone, but he's technically alone. Which I wouldn't be surprised if he gets bonds, if he finds emotional bonds to the Earth people because they're all he has now because he doesn't have anyone else. So that is why Rocket was the last one alive. Because Rocket is still the most skeptical. He's still the survivor. He's a hero, but he's the only one of the Guardians who's still to a certain degree stuck in his old ways. And leaving him alone by himself without the other Guardians is going to be a great character arc for him in the fourth movie. He's going to finally become that full-fledged hero that he's kind of been just like tippy-toeing around. He's done heroic things. Don't get me wrong. He's done a bunch of heroic things. But it was just to protect his family. To protect his own life. And that was it. But now he has to just be a flat-out hero. So that is my spoiler-filled speculation discussion about Avengers Infinity War. Comment below. What are some other things that you're wondering about? I might go in the comments and we can just talk about it, man. I love this movie. I gave it a 10. There's so much in it. There's so much to speculate about. I didn't want this to go on for an hour, so I'm going to cut it off about 38 minutes because it was just a lot to talk about. So thank you for joining me on the Comic Game Movie Show. Please remember to like and subscribe. And like I said, please comment below. What do you think? Throw anything out there. Throw something out there. Let me know what you think of anything. And I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Goodbye. And have a great day, people.